if you remember that in the last session, I mentioned a very important point. So what was that point? I mentioned that streamline, then path line and streak line are identical in a steady flow, right? So in the last session, I mentioned this very important point. Now let us try to understand this further. Okay. So first of all, let us try to understand this thing. See, I said that in Eulerian approach, okay, we are focused on a particular point in a flow field. That means we don't care about the identity of fluid particle. So if you remember that in every discussion, I consider the velocity components, let's say v vector or a vector, okay, as a function of what? As a function of, okay, s vector comma t. That means as a function of x, y, z and time t. Similarly, a vector also I consider this as a function of, okay, let's say s vector comma t, or since it is a vector, you can say like this is a function of velocity vector comma t. So now we can like imagine, or we can guess that the flow field, okay, velocity field as well as acceleration field, they can be represented in a two-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system. So let us take a two-dimensional Cartesian coordinate system and let us assume certain points here. So let us say like these are my points. Just try to understand this thing. Now, let us start with the definition of a streamline. So if you remember, I said that a streamline is a curve such that the velocity at any point on the curve, okay, is tangent to that particular curve. Okay, so let's say I choose certain points. Let's say I took one point here. I said the direction of velocity vector at this point is this one. And the direction of velocity vector, let's say at this point is this one. Then again, I choose this one point and I said the direction of velocity vector is this one. Okay. So what I said, now if I draw a curve through these points, and this curve, it should be drawn in such a way that the velocity vector at this point, it should be tangent to this curve, correct? So let me draw this curve first. Okay. So let's say this is my curve. Okay. So let's say this is my streamline. So I took 3 points here just for like explaining this thing. Okay. So I just took 3 points and I drew the velocity vectors at those points. Then I draw a curve in such a way that these velocity vectors are tangent to this particular curve. So then I can say that, okay, this is the curve for streamline. Now let us try to understand what happens in a steady flow, how the streamline and the path line, they become identical. So let's start first with these two, streamline and path line. So let me take an example. Let's say, let us take the example of, let's say, smoke. So let's say a person is smoking, let's say, a cigarette here. And let's say the smoke particles at a particular time instant t, okay, they are following, okay, they are following this velocity vector, or at this particular point p, they are having a velocity in this direction. Okay. So now this smoke, okay, it is tracing the smoke particles. They are tracing this streamline. Okay. So let us assume this. Now what happens to path line? So in a steady flow, we know that the velocity vector v is constant, right? So let's say the velocity vector at a particular instant of time t at these points, okay, is not changing with respect to time. Remember, they can change with respect to the, okay, location. So maybe it may happen that the velocity vector at this point is different from the velocity vector at this point, but they are not going to change with respect to time. So let's say at any instant of time, the velocity vector here is v1 vector at time t. So it will remain v1 vector throughout the entire duration. So here also, let's say it is v2 vector, comma t, it is v3 vector, comma t. Now let us go back to the definition of a path line. So we know that a path line is the path which is traced by a fluid particle. So what is going to happen? Let's say a smoke particle, it originated here. Okay. Now this smoke particle, since the velocity vector at this particular point is constant, okay, it is not changing with respect to time. So this smoke particle, it is going to follow the same direction, okay, and since this v vector is constant, so it will travel the same distance over a, let's say, time interval delta t. So it will follow the same direction and it will travel the same distance, right? So that means if a fluid particle is starting from here and if we, okay, trace this path, so see, since the flow is steady, remember this thing, the direction of velocity vector, okay, is not going to change, the direction as well as magnitude. So this fluid particle which originated here, if we trace its path, we will find that it will follow the same path, okay, it will follow the same path, okay, as the streamline. Remember, so just try to like understand this thing. So what just happened, since the velocity vector, it is not changing its magnitude as well as direction. So what will happen? A fluid particle which is, or let's say the smoke particle which is originating at this point, okay, it will trace the, okay, the smoke particle, it is going to travel the same distance and that too in the same path. So that means the path line and streamline, they become identical. Now what about streak line? What about streak line? Again, see here. Now I have taken the case of smoke originating from, let's say, like if a person is smoking some cigarette or something. Okay. Now we know that for a streak line, the condition is that all the fluid particles, they should pass through a particular point. Okay. So if we assume here that, let's say, at any instant of time, okay, this fluid particle originated at this location. Now this fluid particle, it moved along this path. Let's say it moved along this path. Then the next fluid particle, it came here and that too also traced the same path. So why is it happening? Okay, why is it happening? Let's see, the fluid particle again, let's say a smoke particle originated here, right? And again, you see the velocity vector, okay, at this particular point is constant. So this fluid particle, it will travel along, let's say, like this path. Okay. Then the next fluid particle came here. Now the next fluid particle came here, but again, if you observe, the velocity vector at this particular point is going to remain constant with respect to time. Then again, this fluid particle will follow the same direction. Okay. And it will travel the same distance over a time interval delta t. Okay. So you got my point. So what is happening? So let's say at a particular time t naught, okay, a fluid particle originated here. Since the direction of velocity vector is like this, let's say it traveled like this. Okay, it traveled like this. Now at, let's say, like time t1, again another fluid particle originated here. Let's say it traveled like this and it reached at this particular point. Now at time t1, another fluid particle originated here. By that time, that means you can say t1 minus t naught. The first particle, it has, let's say, traveled some distance and it reached at this point. Okay, now at that particular moment of time, T1, the second fluid particle, this is here. So what I said, what is a streak line? Streak line is the locus of all the particles, okay, locus of all the fluid particles that have passed through a particular point or a particular origin O, right? So see, all the particles here, they will pass through this particular point O. Let me mention this point as O. So they all will originate at this particular point O, and they are going to trace this path. So now you can very easily guess that streamline will be what? Streamline will be simply the line joining all these fluid particles. Okay. So you can very easily guess, since the velocity vector is not going to change with respect to time. So again, the streamline, path line, and streak line, they all become identical. Okay. Okay. So this is one this thing. Now let us try to explore this further. That okay, I said like the streamline, the path line, and streak line, they are going to be identical in a steady flow. Okay. But what happens when the flow becomes unsteady? So when the flow becomes unsteady, then what happens? What just happened? See here, when the flow becomes unsteady. So let us go to the streak line. Now let's say at a time t, okay, at time t naught, a fluid particle originated here, a smoke particle originated here, and it traveled in this direction, okay, along, let's say, this path. Okay. Now at time t1, at time t1, what happened? At time t1, your velocity vector, okay, it changes direction. Okay, since the flow is unsteady, that is, velocity is going to change with respect to time, be it either in magnitude or in direction. So let us say at time t1, okay, the next fluid particle came here. Okay, so at time t1, the second fluid particle or smoke particle came here, but now the velocity vector changes direction. Now it is in this direction. So what is going to happen? Now this fluid particle is going to follow this path. Okay. Similarly, let's say at time t2, another fluid particle came here. Again, that fluid particle, the velocity vector at this particular point, it changes magnitude and direction. So what will happen? The fluid particle will travel a different distance in a different direction, if I assume that both the magnitude and direction are changing. Okay. So now again at time t3, what is going to happen? Let's say the third fluid particle again it came here. Now since the velocity vector changed, okay, so let's say this is the velocity vector now, v3 vector. So this fluid particle will reach at this particular point. Now you see here, your streak line will be the locus of fluid particles that have passed through a particular origin, okay, at different instants of time, right? So now you see here, this fluid part, the streak line will be simply the line joining these particles, right? So now your streak line will be different. Okay. Again, just let me know, will this streamline remain the same? Let's say at time t naught. At time t naught, this is your streamline. Okay. At time t naught. Now tell me, let's say at time t1. So now I am talking about unsteady flow. Then tell me at time t1, will the streamline is going to remain the same?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So now at time t1, the streamline is not going to remain the same because the velocity vectors, they are changing its direction. Okay. So just I am going to mention very important point here. Just remember, like in some lecture videos or in some books, I have found that some of the authors, they directly mention that streamline, okay, is the line which is traced by a fluid particle in a steady flow. Okay. But as far as my opinion is concerned, this is not true. So a streamline, you can plot a streamline in an unsteady flow also. The only thing is that in an unsteady flow, the streamline will be different at different instants of time. Okay. So in books, in some books, if you find this definition, then just don't get confused. Okay. So a streamline can be plotted in an unsteady flow also, The only thing is that the streamline is not going to remain constant with time. That means this curve, let's say at time t naught, this curve is like this. So maybe at if some time t1, this curve will become like this. Okay. So this curve can become like this. Okay. So this is the case for a unsteady flow. So let's then go back to some numericals. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Right? Is this clear to all of you? Any doubt here into this one?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's start with some numericals. Okay. So let's say in a flow field, the velocity vector is going to be x comma y comma z comma t. So that is equal to 10 xy I cap plus 5x square j cap plus t square x plus z k cap. So let's say in a flow field, this is the velocity vector which is given to you. Now I am asking to find out the velocity and acceleration at time t equal to 1. Okay, so at time t equal to 1 and s vector is also given to you x, y, z, I cap plus k cap plus 3 k. So just observe this numerical, like let's say very carefully observe this numerical, that the velocity field. Now you can see here the velocity field is a function of x, y, l, z and t. Okay, so this is a flow field. Now you are being asked to calculate the velocity and acceleration at a particular time t. So first of all, which factor came into play? This time t, it came into play. Then the next factor which came into play is the location. Okay, so now just remember that your flow field, you can represent your flow field, let's say, by a grid of lines. Okay, and you can take certain points here. Okay, so what is being asked to you? So let's say this point position vector is given with respect to some Cartesian coordinate system or with respect to some reference frame. Always remember the frame of reference, that is also very important. Okay, so Eulerian and Lagrangian approach, they are nothing, they are just different frames of reference, right? So now we are following a Eulerian approach, so we are taking a fixed frame of reference, and with respect to that frame of reference we are observing the fluid flow, right? So at this point the position vector is given to you. Let's say this point position vector is this one, and now you have to calculate the velocity and acceleration at this particular point at, let's say, some time instant t, right? So we don't know this flow is steady or unsteady, we don't know anything. Okay, so now just let me ask you, what do you feel like, this flow is steady or unsteady? Just tell me. So from this, can you conclude from this equation?
Sir, it is unsteady.
It is unsteady. Why it is unsteady?
Sir,
Sir,
because
velocity is dependent on time.
So because the velocity field is dependent upon time. Very easy, right? Now let me ask you, is this flow is uniform or non-uniform flow?
Sir, it will be non-uniform because we see y in the I cap terms.
Very good, very good. So see, this flow, it is dependent upon x location, then z location, then y location. And we are asking the velocity and acceleration at a particular location s vector. So we are obvious that this flow is not going to remain uniform. That means the velocity at this point and at this point will be different. And similarly, the velocity at these 2 points at time t1 and at time t2 will be different. Okay, so now let's start this solving this numerical problem. So what is given to us? Okay, so first of all, see the x components of velocity, then the y component of velocity, then the z component of velocity. Clear? This is provided to us. Now the location, okay, the location of the point where we are interested to calculate the velocity and acceleration. So x is given to us, the x component of this s vector is given to us 1, y is given as 2, okay, and z is given as 3. Okay, so this is provided to us. Now what we have to find out? V vector. So what is V vector? V vector is very simple. Vx I cap plus y j cap plus Vz k cap, or you can very simple terms you can say ui cap plus Vj cap plus wk cap. So these are the x, y, z components, right? U, v, w. So very easy. The velocity vector is very easy. Then next you have to find out a vector. Okay, so a vector we all know that is given by d, okay, v vector by dt. Okay, so now we all know that this d v vector by dt, now it consists of two terms: local changes, that is the change with respect to time, and the changes due to convection, that means the fluid particle being transported from one location to another location, right? So now this is simply delta v vector by delta t plus, okay, the next is, I think it is written like this. Okay, let me write down in simple terms rather than in vector form, because in vector form sometimes it becomes complex. Okay, so that means let's say ax is simply your delta u by delta t plus u delta u by delta x plus v delta u by delta y plus w delta u by delta z. Okay, so you can check the vector form also in a similar way. Okay, so right now I have written it in a, let's say, so vector form will be nothing, it will be simply del v vector. Okay, so I have simply write down this thing into a simplest form, let's say ax. Then similarly ay we know that it will be delta v by delta v t, then this will be v, then this will be, oh sorry, this will be u, then this will be delta v by delta x plus v delta v by delta y plus w delta v by delta z. Okay, similarly you can write down the value of az. Now this thing we have to find out, and this is the relation which is available with us. Now what is the next step? Very easy. Okay, so just let's calculate delta. Okay, let us calculate ax. Okay, so velocity vector, can you all calculate? Velocity vector is very easy. U is given, v is given, w is given, so you have to calculate it at x equal to 1, y equal to 2, z equal to 3 and t equal to 1. So simply put these values into this one, okay, this relation, and this is very easy to calculate, right? Now I will tell you how to calculate the acceleration vector. So ax is equal to delta u by delta t. So what is u? U is given as 10xy, okay, plus, now see here, u times of delta u by delta x. So u is again 10xy. Now delta u by delta x, that means 10xy plus v delta u by delta y. So v is given as 5x square, and then delta u by delta y 10xy plus, okay, now w is given as t square x plus z and then this will be delta u by delta z. So del by delta z of 10xy. Okay, fine. So now let's differentiate it. So see here the local term, okay, when you are taking the acceleration in the x direction. So the temporal change is 0. Temporal means with respect to time. So this is 0. See here. So delta by delta t of this is 0 plus 10 xy. Now differentiate this. So this will be simply 10y plus 5x square. Again differentiate this with respect to y. So this will be 10x plus, okay, t square x plus z. Now again with respect to z, if you differentiate this term, so the thing is like it will become equal to 0. So ax is finally equal to 10 xy square plus, okay, 50 x cube. Okay, so now, oh sorry, it is 100. So 10 into 10, 100, 10 into 50. So 100 xy square plus 50 x cube. Okay, so I think this is fine. So now just see here, the acceleration component is the x direction is only dependent upon x and y coordinates. It is independent of z and time t coordinate. So just put the values of x, okay, y, z and t. So it is 100. Then x is your 1. Then y square is 2 square plus 50 into x cube. So 1 cube. Okay. So now I think you can solve this very easily. Now in a similar way you can calculate ay. Okay. And then in a similar way you can calculate az. So let me show you one more calculation for az. Okay. So what is az? Az is simply, tell me what is az? Tell me the relation for az. So az we are talking about z components. So
Sorry,
z
it would be
component,
dw by dt plus w into du by dx
okay,
plus w into du by dy plus w into dw by dz.
okay. So w into here it should be du by dx.
dw by
dw
u
So
into
this will be
dw
u
by dA.
plus v
Okay.
into dw by dy plus
Del y.
w into dw plus dy.
del z. Very good, very good. So always remember, see here that you have to change only this component whenever you're writing this equation. All other things they are going to remain the same. That is u, v, w. So always keep this in mind. Like you are seeing the variation in which direction. If you are seeing the variation, let's say the variation of which component, sorry, not direction, the variation of which component. So you are seeing the variation of, okay, z component of velocity. That means w. So now just remember that you are seeing the variation of z component of velocity. So put w. So w changing with respect to time. Then w changing with respect to x, w changing with respect to y, w changing with respect to z. Remaining all things remain the same. Okay. So now this will be del by delta t. Okay. So what is your w here? W is t square x plus z. Okay. So t square x plus z. So this is your w. Then you again you have 10 xy. Okay. Then this is delta by del x. Okay. Then again t square x plus z plus, okay, v is again 5x square. Okay, v is again 5s square. Then delta w by delta y. So w is again t square x plus z. Okay, plus your w is again t square x plus z. Okay, and delta w by delta z, or you can say delta by delta z of t square x plus z. So now let us differentiate this equation. Okay, so this will be simply, see here, delta by delta t. Okay, so this will be simply here 2xt, right? 2t, then this x is constant, then x will come out, plus delta by delta t of z. So this is 0. Okay. Then plus 10xy, then see here again delta by delta x, okay, of t square x plus z. So very easy differentiation. So this xx is going to nullify, it will become equal to 1. So this will be simply t square, right? So delta by delta x, t square x plus z. So this differentiation will become 0 and this will become equal to t square. Okay, plus 5x square, again delta by t square x plus z. So these two will remain constant with respect to this one. So it will be 0 plus, now this will be simply t square x plus z. Now delta w by delta z. So first term will become 0, then the differentiation of second term will become equal to 1. Now just put the value of x, y and
25.
Z here. Okay, so it is coming to be
25.
25 2tx plus 10xy t square. Okay, so in my calculation it is coming 26. Okay, maybe there might be possible mistakes in my calculation as well. So no problem, just put the values and calculate. Now if I ask you what is the resultant acceleration, so resultant acceleration, so it is simply ax I cap plus ay j cap plus az k cap. So always remember, so this I cap, j cap, k cap, they are giving the directions of what? They are giving the directions of acceleration vector, right? So what is the magnitude? If I say what will be the resultant, what will be the resultant magnitude of the acceleration vector? Then what will be the resultant magnitude? Just tell me.
The square root of ax square plus ay square plus az square.
So very easy. So this is simply square root of ax square plus ay square plus az square. Okay. So very easy. Now you can put the values there and calculate. In a similar way, you can calculate the resultant velocity as well. Now let us take one more numerical problem. Now this numerical problem, it is again related, let's say, to the calculation of acceleration only. Now let's understand this thing into a different way, or let's take the help of a nozzle to understand this thing. Okay, the acceleration vector in the velocity field. So again, the next problem is, so many times, like even to understand the streamline, streak line, you can take the example of a nozzle. Okay, so a nozzle is a very good candidate to understand all these things. Okay. So like what I did for the smoke particles, you can simply do it for the, let's say, fluid particles entering and leaving the nozzle. So you can understand the streamline, streak line and this concept using this nozzle also, as well as what you can do. You can, if you wish to understand, or if you wish to understand for, let's say, some laboratory experiment, then let's say you have a flowing fluid, and what you do, you just insert a dye and observe the motion of dye particles. So that is another way to understand the behavior of streamline, streak line and path line, right? So I have already actually shared some videos with all of you. So try to go through those videos. The concept will become more clear to you. So this is a nozzle which is given to us. Now this nozzle, okay, in this nozzle, it is stated that the velocity at any point, remember I am talking about Eulerian approach, so I am taking, let's say, the velocity at any point is a function of x. So at the input, okay, so let's say at this particular point, okay, so sometimes we can say like at this particular cross section, but since we are talking of Eulerian approach, it is better to take the, okay, velocity or to talk about the velocity at a particular point. So let's say u is given as v0 at this particular cross section, and at this particular point or cross section, you can say u is given as 3v naught. Now what is being asked to us, that length of nozzle is given, that is given as 500 mm. V naught is provided to us, that is given as 5 meter per second. Let's say it is provided to us. Then we have been asked acceleration A vector at, okay. So let me say this, let us say this is x equal to 0 and this is x equal to L. So I am saying this. So A vector at, actually it has been asked that calculate A vector at nozzle base. Okay. So for nozzle base, I am assuming that x is equal to 0. That is this cross section, and nozzle tip. So for nozzle tip, that means for this particular location, I am assuming this x as L. That is equal to the length of the nozzle. So we have to find out this acceleration vector. And these things are provided to us. Okay. Okay, fine. So everything is now given to us. So how to proceed for this problem? Okay. So can anyone guess how to proceed for this problem? So first of all,
Euler's approach.
yeah, we will follow the Eulerian approach. So first of all, let's say if you have such this kind of questions. So first of all, always just write down on one side of the paper the equations which you have. Okay. So the equations which you have, you know, Ax is given delta u by delta t plus u delta u by delta x plus v delta u by delta y plus w, okay, delta u by delta z. So first of all, now tell me, is there any need to write down other equations also here? That is a y, a z.
No, sir.
No. Okay. Because there is no component of the velocity in, no component of the acceleration or velocity in the y and z direction. Okay. Because it is already provided to you that this velocity is a function of x only. So half of the burden is relieved. So now I have to focus only on this one. Okay. I don't need to focus anywhere else. I just need to focus on this thing. Okay. So now again, start one by one. First of all, tell me, what about delta u by delta t? Okay. Always see here, u is a function of just ux. So this delta u by delta t will be
0.
okay. So very good. So this will be 0. Okay. Now, what about delta u by delta y? Again, this will be 0. Delta u by delta z, again 0. So see, now our job is like very easy. It is simply u delta, this acceleration vector is u delta u by delta x. Now, next, what we have to do, we have to find out this ax. Okay. Now I will not say a vector. I will just simply say ax. Okay. At nozzle base and nozzle tip. So see here, this u at the nozzle base and at the nozzle tip is given to us. Okay. But this u is a function of ux. So if we somehow find out an expression for u as a function of x, that means if it is possible to relate this u, okay, with the distance we are moving from, let's say this point towards the, that means the distance we are moving from the nozzle base towards the tip. Okay. So let me just say, let's say like if I establish a coordinate system here. Okay. So if somehow we find out the expression of, okay, u as a function of this x, okay, and relate it to v naught, 3v naught, okay, then we can find out this delta u by delta x. Okay. So how to, now just tell me how to find out this thing. So let me
So can we approach through area? I mean, a1 v1 should be equal to that, a product of av should be constant.
yeah, that is also possible, but right now I am not going through that approach, because that I will follow when I will discuss continuity equation. Right now I just want to solve this through like simple approach, not going to the continuity equation. So let's see. Okay, so let's see. let me make an important assumption here that this, okay, this u, it follows a linear velocity profile. Okay, that means this u is a linear function of x. Let me make this assumption. Okay, so I am just making this assumption. It is not like necessary that it is possible each and every time, but for now let me like provide you this thing into the question that this u is following a linear velocity profile. Okay, that means this u is a linear function of x. Okay, so now just tell me how to find out this expression. Now in this expression you have to basically find out this constants a and b. Now just tell me how to find out these constants. Now it is very easy.
Sir, at x is equals to
X
0, it will
equals
be
to 0,
v naught.
Very good.
B will be
So
V
now
naught.
you have to just apply the boundary conditions. So at x equal to 0, u equal to v naught. Okay. So this is simply equal to what? U equal to v naught, x is equal to 0. So b is equal to v naught. At x equal to L, u is given as 3v naught. So this is simply 3v naught is equal to what? A. Okay. Then x is L. Okay. Then this b is v naught. So a is 2v naught by L. So u is equal to, okay, a is 2v naught by L, 2v naught by L plus, okay, into x plus b, v naught. So it is simply v naught 1 plus 2x by L. Okay. So I followed this approach. So if you are like experienced enough, you can go through a very simple approach also. That means some people do it like this, that at this distance, L distance, it is 3v naught. So at unity distance, it is 3v naught by L. Okay. So some people follow this approach also. Okay. So, but I will like suggest you to go through the like correct procedure. So sometimes this approach can confuse you. Okay. So just follow this approach. Okay. So here, okay, sorry, over a distance L, the change in velocity is 2v naught. So over a unity distance, the change in velocity is 2v naught by L. So over a distance x, the change will be 2v naught by L into x. Okay, so this is the like, kind of approach. So now we have this relation. We have this relation. That means we have u is equal to v naught 1 plus 2x by L. Now it is very simple to find out ax. So it is simply v naught, okay, 1 plus 2x by L. Okay. Now this is simply delta u by delta x. That means delta by delta x v naught 1 plus 2x by L. Right. So I hope now you all can differentiate this thing. Okay. So can you solve this? Fine. Okay. So let us any query into this?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir,
So if
sir, we have assumed this linear velocity profile because, so this is what I think, right? Because the area is continuously means it is decreasing at a constant rate. So I was telling you that the product of area and velocity should be constant, and because of this, the velocity
Yeah.
should
Yeah, but
also.
I'm not going to actually follow the continuity equation, because continuity equation also, if you take it, so how will you find out the expression for, let's say, like velocity? So let's say I took the area here as E naught V naught, right? Then we took the area here as, okay, let's say like A2 3V naught. Okay, so still like it is very difficult to find out, let's say like an expression through which represents the variation of this velocity u as a function of x. Okay, so from the continuity equation is still like you can find out, you can like imagine this thing, and
Yes,
then
sir, we can, yeah, we can assume
but
these are
ultimately you
symmetrical.
have to converge to the like same philosophy. So from here also, if you start, you have to come out to the same philosophy only.
Yeah.
Correct? So now let's. Okay. Anything
so
else?
if a particular equation is not given, then we will always assume linear velocity profile.
Actually, in this question, like I have provided to you that okay, this is the linear velocity profile, and don't worry if something is asked like from my side, I will always provide you that okay, it is linear or parabolic, right? So if it is not given, then you can assume. But like sometimes what happens, there are other ways to also find out, let's say like the expression for velocity. So sometimes like if it is provided somewhere in the question, but the students confused, they actually directly go for the linear profile. So that's why I'm not saying this. Okay, so I will, when like some questions given from my side, then definitely I will provide you. It is linear or like parabolic or what kind of nature.
And sir,
Yeah.
so as long as the object given to us is symmetrical, we can assume that, right? Means
Actually, it's not about the, let's say like symmetry of object. It's about, let's say like the length which this fluid particle is going to travel. So let's say, very simple to understand. Let's say I have a curve, and if I go over through this small region of curve, okay, then I can assume this curve as a straight line, right? So it is like something related to the, like, let's say the length of that nozzle. So let's say if the length of the nozzle, let's say, is 1 meter. So for some time you can assume that, okay, the velocity is going to follow, like it will be a linear function of x. But let me like mention, let's say if the length of the nozzle is very big, okay, and at the same time, like let's say like or let's take the example of a fluid flowing through a pipe. So let's say a fluid is flowing through a pipe, okay, and that pipe is having certain bends, okay. So this pipe is having like many bends. So in that case, we cannot assume that this u will be a linear function of, let's say, like ax. And you know, the pipe, it also has a like very long length. Okay. So it depends upon like the extent of object. So for a nozzle, since the nozzle is, let's say, maximum, it is if you see the nozzle like let's say if you talk of like our tap water, right? So that is also a kind of nozzle. So you can see like the distance is like very small. Okay, the water that is coming out from the tip of our like this tap water. So that is actually very small, not like very big. So we can assume that it is following a linear velocity profile, right? Anything else into this one? Is it okay? Okay, so shall we go ahead? Okay, so let's take one more numerical. Okay, now let's take this numerical. This is related something with the streamline. Streamline. Okay, so this is also very important numerical. So in a steady fluid flow, so u is given as 2kx. So right now, see, most of the times I will not say like a steady or unsteady. So I will just provide you the equations, and from the equations you have to think that whether the flow is steady or unsteady. So this is very easy to find out. So W is given as minus 4kz. Now find the equation of streamline, okay, passing through point 1, 0, 1. So now tell me how to solve this thing. So first of all, just tell me, this flow is steady or unsteady?
So steady flow.
Steady, because see, neither the u component, neither the v component, neither or the w component, all the three components, they are independent of time. Okay. So, and also just like remember always this thing, that if let's say here this u component, it is just a function of x, it is not going to vary in the y direction, but this is not always true. Okay, so it can happen that this u is a function of 2kxy. That means even though there is x component of velocity, but that x component of velocity is dependent upon the x-axis as well as the y-axis. It is going to vary along the x as well as y-axis also. Okay, so this is very important concept. So this concept is basically responsible for generation of rotational flow. Okay, rotational flow, or let's say like vortex. So I will come to that later on. So just right now keep this thing in mind. So here let's say we are seeing that u, v and w, they are independent of time. So this flow is steady. then if you remember the equation of a streamline, equation is what? Du by x. If you remember, this was du by x, then dv by y, and dw by z. So I think this was the equation, right? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is not du. So if you remember, we always take what? V vector cross ds vector is equal to 0. So sorry, I did that by mistake. So it is basically dx by u is equal to dy by v, dw by z. Dz by. So this is the equation for streamline. Now just take these two. Okay. So dx by u is equal to dy by v. Okay. So dx by u is 2kx is equal to dy by v is 2ky. Right. So now okay, so fine. So now just this k, they are going to cancel out. So this will be dx by x is equal to dy by y. Okay. Next is just to integrate this. Okay. So if you integrate this, this will be ln x, ln y plus. Okay. Here I want to mention very important thing. Okay. So in the plus sign, shall there be a constant? Let's say, just let me ask, shall I put a constant c1 or shall I put, let's say, some function of x comma y? Just tell me this thing. This is very important because see here, we are continuously dealing with partial differential equations as well as total differential, right? So just to avoid any confusion in future, okay, so I am asking you this thing, like shall I put here the constant c1 or shall I put it, let's say, like f x comma y, some function of x comma y? Just tell me. Anyone?
A function of x comma y or a function of only z?
Whatever. So let's say if you feel like it should be a function of z.
Yes, sir. So function of
Yes,
z.
sir. Function of z.
Is it? Just think about it. See, very important here, whenever you see here the total differential, okay, then always remember you have to put the constant. Okay. So if you are, let's say, integrating delta u by delta x is equal to, let's say 0. If you are integrating the partial differential, right? So let's say like, okay, delta u by delta x, let's say it is x square y, something like that. Okay. So if you are integrating the partial differential and here it is x, right? Then you will write down, okay, it is x cube by 3y plus some function of y, right? So if you are integrating partially with respect to x, then here it will come some function of, let's say, y. But when you have total differential, that is dd, okay, so blindly replace this with constant c1. Okay, so always keep this thing in mind. Okay, so now after this integration, now we have ln x is equal to ln y plus c. Okay, so now this is ln x divided by y. Okay, so we can write down in this form, then c1. So, or you can simply write down x is equal to, okay, e to the power c1 into y, or you can simply write down x is equal to, again this is some new constant, So let me name this as A into Y. So this is one equation. Now let's go to another equation. Okay. So now just take the second term. That means this one. dy by v is equal to dw by z. Right? dy by v. Oh, sorry. I am always writing like this. I'm sorry. Okay. So dy by v, that means dy divided by v. V is given to us 2ky. That is equal to dz by w. So dz is this one, and w is given to us minus 4kz. Now this 2k and this is going to be cancelled. So dy by y, this is equal to dz minus dz by 2z. Again integrate it. So this is with ln y minus 1 by 2 ln of z plus again some constant, let's say c2. So again ln y, now this is simply ln square root of z plus c2. So again this is y okay, divided by square root of z is equal to e to the power c2, and simply if you square this, then this is y square divided by z, okay, e to the power c2 square. That means let's say again this some constant b, so it is y square is equal to b z. So this is relation number 2.
Sir, there is minus 1 by 2 ln z, so it will be ln of 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think here I did a mistake. I'm sorry.
Square root of 1 by z.
So it will be plus here. So it will be multiplied. It will be multiplied. Okay. Okay. So this will be y square z is equal to b. Okay. I think now it's correct. Okay, now I think it's correct. So, okay, so we have two relations. One is x equal to ay, second is y square z is equal to b. So let us check whether these two relations are sufficient or not. So the third relation you can form from here and here. Okay, so let us check whether these two relations are sufficient to find out the equation of a streamline or not. So what is given to x? X is given, because see here, very important thing, that we have to find out the streamline passing through a point. That is Eulerian approach. So x is 1, y is equal to 0, and again z is equal to 1. So if we take equation 1, so from equation 1, okay, 1 is equal to a, okay. Now just put these values here, okay, because we are checking at a particular point, and then we are actually applying the, you can say like the boundary conditions, okay, to find out the value of constants. Let's say this a and b. So a is equal to 1 and then y is equal to 0. So here simply 1 by, oh, what is happening here? X is equal to ay. So a, so it's coming to be infinity. Okay, so let me check this. Let it come infinity. Then let's go to the second equation. From equation 2. Okay, so again, y is 0, z is 1, b is equal to 0. So constant b is equal to 0. Okay. So are we getting any relation from these two equations? I think no. Because if we take a is equal to infinity, so x will become equal to infinity. So I think we are not going to get any relation from this. Okay, so now what should we do? Just tell me. If we are not getting any relation from these two equations, then what should we do?
Sir, we can use the third one, like the relation of x and z.
Then we will go for the third one. Let's check the third one. Okay, so it is dx by u, that is equal to dz by w. So let's check the third one also, dx by u. So u is again 2kx. I'm not sure like how did it happen. X is equal to, here we are not doing any mistake, right? C11y. So x is equal to 1. A is tending to be infinity. So dx upon x, okay, then dz by w minus 4k z. So again, let's say this is 2, then again 2. I think now again we will get the same relation. Only thing, see here, from here and here, almost the same relation we are getting, 2ky minus 4kz. So 2, 2, 2. So only thing here it will be x square z is equal to c. Okay, so let's go to this relation also. Okay, now here again x is equal to 1, okay, and z is equal to 1. So constant c is equal to 1. So from here I think we are getting a relation, right? So here if you observe that from here actually if you see this equation, so we are getting x as infinity. So I'm not saying like this is not possible. This could also be a possible solution for a streamline, right? But here then the next feasible solution is what, x square z is equal to c. So c we calculated 1. So x square z is equal to 1. So this is our final relation. Okay. Now what about y? Okay. So this is one relation which is relating x and z, but there should be something about y also. So that means y is going to be remain 0. I think so. Okay. So this is y here, and this constant is infinity, right? So here if you see here, so we calculated from here like x as infinity. So if we go here and we put infinity here, so we will find out that this y is equal to 0. Okay. But finally, just remember, we don't care about y. This is the relation for our streamline. Okay. So ultimately, you take whatever y, your streamline is going to be dependent upon only x and z. Remember this thing. Okay. So this is how like we proceed in such cases. So definitely, like what is going to happen, definitely such kind of equations will not be provided to you. So like we got stuck here, right? So maybe like there are the equations in the book, like they are provided in such a way that like it became complex in the latter phase, but usually it will not happen. Okay. And even if it happens, so just remember that you have 3 equations. So if the solution is not possible, like a feasible solution is not possible from the first 2 equations, then check the latter 2. Okay. So like this you can continue. So I hope like till this point everything is clear to you, how to find out the equation for a streamline and how to find out acceleration and velocity. Is it clear to all of you? Any doubt? Anything? Just remove this thing here. I think like this is not a good idea to put y is equal to 0. Any doubt? Anything? Is it clear to all of you? Okay, so this is like all the like how to find out streamline and this thing, acceleration and velocity. So let me mention one more important thing here, that there is one numerical problem which is related to streak line. Okay, so I will share the PDF of that numerical problem, or maybe if you go to if you have purchased the book on fluid mechanics by Som Vishwas and Chakravarti even. So there is one numerical problem on streak line that is also very interesting numerical problem. So try out that numerical problem yourself. Okay. And if you have any doubt, then ask me. But just try out that numerical problem. So it's like kind of, it will open your brain, like what is going inside. Right? So try to solve that numerical problem. And if you have any doubt in solving that numerical problem, then please ask me. So it is already solved in the book. You have to just understand it. Right? So here, till now, everything is fine. Now, after this, let me discuss about conservation equations. So very, very important. So right now, just remember, we are still stuck to fluid kinematics only. Okay. So we are talking about just the fluid motion. We are not taking any forces or anything. So very important equation which comes during fluid kinematics. So I will discuss this thing in detail in the later one, but let me just give you a brief idea of this thing. That is conservation of mass. Okay. So very important equation. So we can call this as conservation equations in fluid flow. So there are a list of equations actually. Okay, so just tell me, one, I told you that conservation of mass. What other things you feel like that should remain there? What other properties which you feel that should remain constant or conserved in a fluid flow? Just tell me. So one is mass. I said mass is conserved. Okay. So mass of a particular system is conserved. Okay. We always study in physics. So there are many other things also. Okay. In physics, if you remember in our laws, laws of physics, we say okay, there are besides mass, there are few other terms also which we say that is conserved for a system. This should remain conserved. Okay, so just tell me what are those?
Conservation of momentum.
Momentum, very good, very good. So one is momentum, and any other thing? Very important thing which you are forgetting.
Energy.
Energy. Very good. Okay, can you relate any of this thing with first law of thermodynamics? So see, the now just okay, we can discuss thermodynamics also here, but I'm not going to very depth. But let me tell you that the laws of thermodynamics, let's say there also we can say, okay, the heat supplied to a system and something like that. If you remember, we talked of first law and second law, right? So Carnot cycle, we talk about Carnot cycle, and then this thing, the zeroth law of thermodynamics, right? So if you remember there also we say that energy of the system is conserved. So similar to that, here also we say that the energy of a fluid system is conserved. So there we talk about the heat system, the thermal system, but here we will talk about the fluid system. So very interesting thing that all the laws of physics, they are interrelated, whether you apply it to a thermal system, whether you apply it to a fluid system, and whether you apply to a solid system. Okay? So if you have a solid, then also this holds true. So let's say if you are hammering, let's say like a spherical ball which is made up of iron. So you are doing some work on it, okay? But that work is going to, be utilized in deformation of this thing, in deformation of your spherical ball. So when it is going to deform, it is going to store the strain energy, the energy in the form of, let's say, strain, deformation. So that is strain energy we called half 1/2 multiplied by stress into strain, if you remember. Okay, and some of the energy is dissipated to the surrounding in the form of, let's say, heat and this thing. But ultimately we say that the work we did on the system, that is stored into the system in the form of energy plus the energy dissipated to the surrounding. So this is how things go on, like in solid, in fluid, or in thermal systems. So basically here we will discuss about conservation of mass, okay, and then we will talk about conservation of, let's say, momentum. Then we will talk about conservation of energy. But very important thing here, the concept of system, okay, it becomes slightly different. Okay, so the things remain same. Like in thermodynamics, can you tell me how many system we have? Anyone?
Sir, 3.
Which one?
Open, closed, and isolated.
Okay, so very good. That is open, closed, and isolated. But here in fluid, you will come to know, besides the system, there is very important thing which is called as control volume. So this concept is very new in fluid mechanics. Okay. So rather than imagining, like say, system, we actually talk about control volume. So this control volume is nothing. This is an open system only. But in fluid, we call this open system as control volume, and the system is closed system. So in fluid, this is the difference. So this is just a different way of like interpreting the words. So in thermodynamics, when you call system, then it could be open or closed or isolated. But in fluid, if you call system, then definitely that is a closed system. And if you talk about an open system, then in fluid, we call that open system as controlled volume. So we will discuss these things in the next session. Okay. So the conservation of mass, momentum, energy, all these things. Right? So for today, like I think this much is enough. So any other query which you have into the previous, let's say like these equations. Okay. So just remember, this is x square z. Now from here also you can find out y. Don't take this one. I think like this numerical problem, there are some mistakes in the book or something like that. Okay. So anything else?
Sir, can we apply Lagrangian approach in this question?
Actually, see, Lagrangian approach also is feasible, because ultimately like the Lagrangian approach and Eulerian approach, they are like just a way of viewing the, let's say, object with different frame of reference. Okay. So in the end, like you can say like even the Eulerian and Lagrangian approach, they are interrelated. But the point is, since we are discussing expressed our like acceleration vector and all these things in terms of, let's say, Eulerian coordinates. So we are just following the Eulerian notations, right? Nothing else. So even if you take, let's say, talk of this thing, like I said, like at this point, I am finding out the acceleration. So if it's very easy thing, I said acceleration at a point, So I don't care at this point, whatever the fluid particle is. At this point, let's say at a particular time t, the fluid particle at this point is, let's say, let me denote it with as F1, okay, at time t1, or let me discuss this thing here also. So actually it's a good question. So let me discuss this thing. Okay. So let us take this thing. Okay. I said acceleration at a point. Okay. Now at this point, let's say at time t, the fluid particle which is present at this point is F1. Okay. Now at time t1. Now let's say at time t2, the fluid particle which was present at this point is F2. Okay. At time t3, similarly, you can say the fluid particle which was present as F3. Right. So we are not caring about the identity of fluid particle. Always remember. So it can happen that at a particular time, okay, the fluid particle at that particular moment of time is F1, but let's say at another moment of time, the fluid particle at that particular point is, okay, F2. But whatever the situation, so at time t1, this, let's say the fluid particle here is F1, so it will have a velocity of, let's say, v1 vector. Again, at time t2, the fluid particle here is F2. Then this F2, okay, this F2, it will also have the velocity v1 vector at time t2. That means what is happening? Nothing is changing at this particular point. We are not focusing on fluid particle. But now let's go to Lagrangian. Now I said that this fluid particle at time t1 is F1. Okay. Now I am just observing the motion of this fluid particle. So at time t1, the fluid particle, let's say, is F1. Now at time t2, we all know that this F1 fluid particle, it will move to some other location. Okay. So let's say at time t2, this fluid particle, it moved to some other location, right? But according to us, if you go to the Eulerian coordinate system, so according to the Eulerian coordinate system, the velocity vector at this point is, let's say, okay, v4 vector. Okay. So the velocity vector is different for this fluid particle, let's say at time t4, or let's say even at time t2. Okay, at time t2, let's say the velocity at vector at this point is v2 vector. So what happened? What just happened? Now we are talking about this fluid particle F1 only. So now this F1, it changed its location in the flow field, right? So it changes location in the flow field with respect to time. Over a certain duration of time, this fluid particle changes location. So definitely, if you take the Eulerian coordinate, the Eulerian coordinate says the velocity at this point is v2 vector. So let's say the fluid particle is coming at this particular location. So it will acquire the instantaneous velocity, okay, at that particular moment of time, at that particular point, right? So that is how the Eulerian and Lagrangian coordinate are related to each other. Okay. So anything else? Now is it clear? I hope.
Sir.
Okay. So any other query? I'm sorry for the background noise. Anything else? Any other query? So how was your exam? Exam was fine?
Yes, sir, it was good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think the questions were too easy. Yes, I have never set a an easy question paper
No,
like this.
sir. Like it was normal. No, not too easy. Not too hard.
Okay. So I hope like you all did good in the exam. Means I have not checked the copies yet, but I will do it like by the end of this week. So maybe I will inform you the marks and all those things. Okay. And just practice these numerical problems, but see, means this fluid mechanics subject, it is actually very important from the competition, or let's say like for your career, from the competitive examination point of view. So I will suggest you always be focused, very focused in the class, and make each and every concept of fluid mechanics very clear, because this subject is very important. Even if you appear for GATE examination also, lot of questions are asked from this subject. Okay, so that's why. Okay, then let me end this meeting now. Then we will discuss other things in the later on. Okay, thank you all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.